Hello everyone, Meowsabub here. Happy holidays! I had originally planned to have another episode out, but a prop that I ordered that was supposed to be here in the Green with Envy finale still hasn't arrived yet. It was initially delayed when it was being made, and I'm still waiting on it to ship to my exact location. And it's kind of an important prop, so I just kind of have to wait on it. In the meantime, I decided I still want a video out this month, and I decided to just do a fun, short little Christmas vlog. So, Blick and I, Blick is the voice of Dydrogen, as well as a general collaborator on these videos, have discussed some things. And the plan going forward is to try and do shorter videos that can be released more frequently. The max number of videos that I can release in a month is still probably going to be 2. I have a full-time job, and I do all the filming and editing myself, and it takes time. The next episode is going to be about different eras in Power Rangers, but is mostly focused on Wild Force. I spent a good deal of time talking about MMPR and Jew Ranger because MMPR is the series I grew up on and have the fondest childhood memories of. But I know that's not true of all you folks, so I'll go ahead and cover one of the later series. If you want to give episode suggestions, I've started a Discord server. I'm going to start putting up the link to it in the description of my videos. If you want to talk Power Rangers or Super Sentai in general, you can feel free to stop by. I am much more likely to see and respond directly to comments there because YouTube doesn't actually always notify me when people comment. And if I'm not at all involved with the conversation, I'm not going to know anything about it, especially in older videos. For me, Power Rangers and Christmas have a very strong association and relationship. Generally, the only times I got new toys was my birthday and Christmas. When I got older, it was mostly when I got new video games and video game systems, but during that awkward transitional phase into pre-adolescence, the big thing I really looked forward to more than anything else was more Power Ranger toys. One of the Christmases I remember the most clearly was the one where I got the Thunder Megazord. I didn't actually have any Zords from the first season of the show. We had the Morpher, Blade Blaster, and some of the action figures, but none of the Zords. I remember just being so amazed by the fact that I not only had one Zord, but I had all of them. Well, except for Tor and the Tiger Zord, but the Thunder Zords themselves were still pretty awesome. Oddly enough, I didn't actually use the Megazord formation all that often. It was a bit clunky, and the Red Dragon's shoulders had a bad habit of popping out of the Lion chest plate if the arm was rotated too much in one direction, which made the action sequences I could pull off with my toys a bit limited. So I used the Red Dragon toy the most since it could transform between being a robot and a dragon, and for a kid that was like the 2 coolest things ever being fused together. I did not play with my toys in a very conventional manner. I played with them a lot more like Andy plays with his toys in Toy Story. You see, I'm the youngest of 4 boys, and so toys that my brothers had outgrown and didn't want anymore ended up becoming mine. So I had access to G.I. Joe, Transformers, Centurions, He-Man, Visionary, Ghostbusters, and a bunch of other obscure toy lines made in the 80s, but since I was born in 89 and hadn't actually watched most of the cartoons that had been made to sell these toys, I just kind of had to make up my own narrative. So, how does this relate to Power Rangers? Well, a number of reasons, but before I can talk about those, I have to talk about Xenogears. Xenogears was an RPG released by SQUARESOFT before it merged into Square Enix, where you played characters that piloted giant robots. As a kid, I was blown away by this concept, and I shamelessly ripped it off when playing with my own toys. I didn't have a full team of Rangers, which meant that I had to pretend that other toys were piloting the Zords. This meant that the Red Dragon Zord was often piloted by Obi-Wan Kenobi because kid me did enjoy Phantom Menace, and I love Jedi, and I loved having Jedi pilot Jedi robots. If I used the Thunder Megazord, it was usually a super power-up to the Red Dragon Zord or something like that. That was not the weirdest thing I did, though. Xenogears had a villain named Graph. As a kid, I loved how this character looked. I also loved how his mecha moved around and posed. There was only one toy I had that was big and posable enough to perform those kinds of actions, and that was my 8-inch Blue Ranger. The Blue Ranger essentially became a Zord, and I needed its pilot to be a character that looked similar to Graph, which was obviously Darth Vader. So yes, I pretended that the Blue Ranger was a giant robot piloted by Darth Vader. I also eventually ended up with the Rescue Megazord, which I just shrugged my shoulders and pretended they were Autobots, since their aesthetic blended in perfectly. So the actual mecha I pretended were Transformers, and the non-mecha person in a suit I pretended was a mecha. I could write a whole slew of terrible fanfiction based on the way I played with my toys as a kid. But in the end, I think that's why I loved my Power Ranger toys so much. It was easy to pretend they were anything. Unless you had all the Automorphin toys, it was impossible to recreate the style of the show where teenagers with attitude transformed into the Rangers. They were already Rangers when you started. If you wanted to capture the feel of the show, you had to pretend that other non-related figures could transform into them, which I probably did but can't remember. Or just say, fuck it, and have them be Rangers or superpowered robots or really anything the whole time. The toys looked cool, had cool accessories, and could be anything. I also never had a full team, so even if I wanted to do a Power Rangers team-up, I was required to mix and match teams and colors. So since I couldn't play with them in a way that matched up with the show, I didn't. And it didn't feel wrong to me. With the combination of uniquely designed suits that looked good as toys and awesome giant robots, it was easy to build whatever worlds I wanted. Power Ranger toys weren't restricted by being all about the military or all about space or all about dinosaurs and monsters. They were varied, and so the games you could play with them were also varied. It allowed me to express my creativity in a way I never known before. I was terrible at drawing, and any arts and crafts projects I tried to do with my hands always looked like they were done by a 3-year-old, even now that I'm in my late 20s. Toys helped me find my creative side when I didn't really have any other mediums I was good at to express myself in. And my Power Ranger toys were definitely a huge part of that. And it's probably why I'll always have good memories of them, and why, for a small part of my life, I always looked forward to getting more of them at Christmas. I hope you enjoyed this fun little detour. If you have any fun stories of your childhood toy-playing antics, feel free to leave them in the comments below, or feel free to join our Discord and leave comments there. If you like this video or any of my other ones, please like, comment, and subscribe. It makes me happy. Anyways, may the power protect you, and have a very Merry Christmas.
Let's sing it! Jingle bells.